Let's do a first look and unboxing of the YCCTeam Pro Controller. Okay, so today we're checking out the YCCTeam Pro Controller, but this is a first look and unboxing. So this is my first impressions of the controller. I haven't even seen it out of the box yet, so you're gonna see that with me. So, we've got a top down just here, so we will be, doing an unboxing. And I do wanna say that this is a super budget controller. So normally we look at slightly more expensive alternative third-party controllers, but this is mega budget. So here in the UK, the retail price is around £20, which is really cheap when you think a Pro controller is around 60, 65, an official one from Nintendo. So this is super cheap. And as of filming, this is actually on sale for around 15 to 16 pounds, which is probably around $20, which is insane. And this is feature packed as well. So let's just check out the controller. And then of course, I will be following this video up in a few weeks time with a full dedicated review. So go down there and subscribe and let's get on with it. Okay, so here's the box. This is the YCCTeam Pro Controller, and we have the white one. It's available in red and blue as well, and I've pretty much only found this on Amazon, but they did send us this for free. I do want to say that they sent this as a sample, but that does not sway my opinions whatsoever. However, I am going to account for the fact that this is mega budget, so it's like 20 quid, so I need to take that into consideration. Okay, so there you go. You can see they've saved some money just there by the way it's packaged. But straight up, we get a rather thick USB-A to USB-C cable for charging. That's pretty good. Let's check out the length of it, shall we? So undoing that. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's about a meter long, I'd say. Maybe just a bit longer than a meter long. Don't know, roughly. But it actually feels quite nice. Like the cable itself is not a horrible sticky rubber. Obviously this is just a charging cable. I imagine you can use it wired as well, but this is a wireless controller. Despite the price, this is a wireless controller, which is insane. Wireless for like 20 quid or less, that's pretty good. And then what do we get inside here? So let's open it this way. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else in the box, I don't know if you can see. Nothing else in there, so let's throw that away. We get an English instruction manual, which is pretty nice to see, to be honest. Here is the goods. This is it. This is the controller in its little plastic thing. How do I get it out? Ugh. It's well and truly stuck in there. Let's just try and pop that out. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Now it does have a little note on the front here that says, built-in rechargeable battery, please charge it before use. To avoid battery damage caused by long-term power loss, if you don't use it for a long time, charge every 3 months, which is pretty much a given for almost every battery. You always want to store your batteries charged, really, because then they're not gonna go below its minimum voltage and then stop it from not being able to be charged again. And that especially applies to LiPo batteries. Never let them die because you'll never recharge them again, pretty much. Right, so there you go. So that's a warning of charge it first. So the YCCTeam, there you go. I mean, straight away, it's really fun. I mean, it's plastic. The whole thing is fully plastic. And even the side grips just here, are plastic. Everything's plastic. But I do have to say, it's not like a horrible, flimsy plastic. There's a tiny bit of creak. Ready for it? Tiny bit of creak, but I am really manhandling that. I'm really pulling it around a little bit. But the design is actually quite clean. It's quite nice. And yes, like I said, it is plastic. It's quite a hard plastic. And it just feels quite nice, to be honest. There's nothing going on the back. Obviously, you've got some screw holes and stuff. And on the back, it tells you how to charge it. And, it's got a 1000 milliamp hour capacity battery. I'll go over that in a minute when I start talking about the specs. You've even got the little lights on the bottom there, where it says what player you are currently, 1, 2, 3, or 4, which is quite nice. I wasn't expecting to see that on a budget controller. So that is pretty good. Fit and feel, just there, it feels like a Pro controller, like the official Pro controller, to be honest. It does feel really nice. I mean, to the point where they've probably just completely ripped off the design. It actually looks like they've just scanned an official one. You've even got the Nintendo bit just there. So, there might be some slight copyright infringement here, but I don't think so because they've adjusted the front of it, right? So the front, you've got these like grips just here. I'm not too sure how well you'll see that on the camera, but you do have like a little perforated bit. This is the same kind of plastic as the rest of it, but it does feel like you get some grip because it's got those kind of like tiny little dots on it. And then you've got like these big grooves around which are like slightly gloss in the middle, but this isn't a fingerprint magnet, you know, because it is a matte finish. It's like a slightly textured matte kind of style. So this isn't going to be a gloss sort of fingerprint magnet other than the top. That is a fingerprint magnet, you know, because that is gloss. But you can see we have our pairing button, our pairing light, and a USB-C just there. On the front, we've got 2 sticks, which I'll feel in a minute because I haven't actually felt them. We've got a D-pad, we've got our face buttons, we've got a plus, a minus, a home, our screenshot button, and a turbo button. So again, I'll come back to the turbo in a minute, but that's all the buttons that we've got. And then on the top, we've got our ZR, our ZL, and our L and our R. So just feeling it right now. Ooh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. These sticks actually feel really smooth. Like there's actually a little bit of resistance there, and they do actually like return to the middle very quickly. So let's try the other one. Yep, they return to the center nice and quick, but they feel really nice. It almost feels like rubber. I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is, but like the way the joystick actually moves, there's like a nice resistance there. It's smooth, you know, it's not crunchy, it's not horrible. It's just quite nice. I mean, the tops of these sticks here, they are rubber as well. So these are actually rubber. They're the like face bits of the sticks just there. And on the sides, like, I'm not too sure how you'll see that, but on the sides just here, there is actually like rubber like edging, so it gives you grip just there. But just moving them like this, that feels super smooth, and I'm actually really liking these. Now I will just spoil the features bit. They state that there is 0 dead zone on these joysticks. If there's 0 dead zone on these joysticks on a controller that's 20 pounds or less, that is going to absolutely blow my mind. Now, it could just be marketing talk. They could just be saying, no dead zone. So I will have to thoroughly test that. As I do on all my controller videos, I always do dead zone tests for you because I know for a lot of people that's, you know, a big thing. Now, really quickly, if you don't know what dead zone is, that is basically when you move the joystick, and let's say I moved it that far and nothing is happening, that's dead zone. So from there to like here is dead because nothing happens. Whereas if I moved it from there to there and it started doing stuff, you know, like the minimal movement, but then it started engaging, that would be no dead zone. So they're, you know, saying that there is none, but we will have to wait and find out. So that's the joysticks. They do feel quite nice, actually. I'm quite a big fan of that. Face buttons. Yeah, they're not sticking. You know, the buttons themselves are not sticking. They feel quite nice. They're like raised up from the controller as well. They just feel quite good. I was worried that it might be a little bit sticky, but they're all consistent, which is nice. D-pad, let's check out that D-pad. So again, it's raised. So you can see there's a slight concave in the middle as well. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. It's not the best D-pad. I wasn't expecting the best D-pad. This controller is really budget, but that's acceptable. You know, it rolls around quite nicely, and I feel like it's okay. You know, it's not the best, but I'd say it's passable. It's passable. Now, face buttons, I'm imagining these are pretty clicky. Yep. Oh, the home button is really like spongy. There's a lot of travel on that, but these ones are all clicky. So minus, plus, turbo, and screenshot are all clicky, but the like home button has got quite a bit of movement there. I'm not too sure how you can see that, but quite a bit of movement. And now what are they called, Andy? Shoulder buttons. Shoulder buttons. Let's talk about the shoulder buttons. Okay, so shoulder buttons. Yeah, okay. They're not analog. They're just digital. You know, like they're just there's no like gradual movement there. It's just on or off. You know, but you know that's what I was expecting. Again, it's budget, and all the actual Switch Pro controller isn't analog anyway. It's just a digital like, you know, shoulder button regardless. But they do kind of like flare up a little bit, which is quite nice. So they do feel nice in your hands. Now, again, this is like a live reaction. I haven't planned any of this. I've not looked at it before. It's just straight up out of the box, and I'm telling you what I'm thinking straight away. So like I said, our in-depth review will be coming later on, so make sure you go down there and subscribe. So that is the sort of first look at the controller, and it's a good weight as well, you know, like it actually feels quite good. It's not too heavy, but it's not like super light. You know when you get like really budget like stuff, and sometimes it feels too light, like almost like it's too cheap. I'm not getting that from this. It's quite well balanced. It feels good in the hands. I don't think I'm gonna get like hand ache. It's not too heavy, and it's quite nice. And even if you get quite sweaty hands, like this kind of like weird perforated grip bit, I actually feel like it's gonna be all right. And even on the back, there's like that textured kind of matte, you know, finish on it. Actually feels like quite a good grip. Okay, now let's be totally unprofessional, and I'm just gonna read off the features of my notes that I've made about the controller. We're all friends here, right? You don't care that I'm reading off a phone. I wrote these notes just before I started filming this video. So it's got an NFC reader. That's insane. Loads of third-party controllers just downright ditch the NFC reader, so you can actually use amiibos on this thing just straight up. You know, you don't need to go back to an actual official Nintendo controller to use your amiibo. This supports it, and it's a super budget controller. That's mad. So NFC reader, it's got wake up from sleep. So again, you don't need to walk over to your Switch to turn it on. You can just hold the home button and it will turn your Switch on, which is really cool. It's got motion controls in it. It's got rumble. So it's got 2 motors on either side. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm always a fan of rumble. Even if it ain't that good, I'm not expecting it to be too good. It's a super budget controller. It's got turbo. So let me go over turbo really quickly if you don't know what turbo is. So basically there's a turbo button here, and you can assign it to, I am guessing, the face buttons or the shoulder buttons, maybe even the D-pad. And what you do is once you've assigned, let's say A to turbo, and you have turbo activated, normally there's a couple ways of doing turbo. So press and hold, and what that will do, will spam A or whatever button you've assigned multiple times until you let go. Or you can do it the other way around, where you tap A once or whatever button, and then it will just do it indefinitely, you know, like forever until you press it again. So that's pretty handy if you're doing a repetitive game where you need to keep pressing the button, you don't want to like either break the controller or just your thumb, well then you can assign turbo. So that is quite a handy feature to have. And then finally, really, you've got the joysticks without Deadzone. Apparently, I've already gone over that, but you know, I will test that in the review. And then lastly is there's a 1000 milliamp hour capacity battery inside it. It takes about 2.5 hours to charge fully, and then that gives you 10 hours of continuous play. I think that's acceptable. So yeah, it's a budget controller. I think that's acceptable to have 10 hours off a full charge. So I think that's okay. I mean, first impressions, I'm really liking it. I was expecting, like when we got sent this and I saw the price, I was thinking, oh dear, like really? Like, because I feel like if it's gonna be really rubbish, I don't even know if I should even cover it. Do you know what I'm saying? However, this is filling me with hope. YCCTeam have made a solid controller right here. Obviously, I haven't done the review. I haven't even used this yet, but in first impressions and just looking at it in the build quality, you know, there's nothing sharp on it. There's no dodgy edges. It's all fit like well. It's got so many features and it's cheap. It is cheap. There's so many people that can't afford a full price Pro controller, or even some of the better third-party Pro controllers that are still expensive. So some people just want a cheap one, maybe for their kids, or maybe you just don't have the money. And well, this is where YCCTeam are trying to market, you know, they're trying to appeal to the people that want something a bit more affordable, and that's okay. And straight up, I really like this. Like, my first impressions are, this feels good. The quality looks great so far. I'm really hoping it performs. Who knows how it's gonna do? Make sure you're subscribed down there and give us a few weeks to, you know, to test it out fully, and I will do an in-depth review of it. But that has been my first look and unboxing of the YCCTeam Pro Controller for Nintendo Switch, and at this price, I'm already impressed. And if you're looking for some other controllers or maybe some Joy-Cons, check out one of these videos just here. I don't even know what videos I'm gonna put here, but it'll be hardware related, so it'll be a controller of some kind. Just go and watch one of those reviews, because why not? And subscribe so that you don't miss out the full review of this controller when it comes. Do it.